Good morning. You join me on a bright sunny morning in Oak Hanger at TMC, and I'm on a delivery run today. I'm delivering the van you can just see behind me. That's going to Margate, so it's the far eastern end of Kent that we're heading off to today. So here we are, here's our delivery for today, a 2021 Citroen Dispatch van in fetching black, very nice condition. Show you the inside quickly. Won't hang around too long because it's 9:40 AM, so it's a bit of a later start for me this morning. I want to get going. Bit of a funny one today because I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing until later, so it may be that I'm just delivering the van behind me to Margate and then heading back home from there. It may be that I'll be heading back here to Bentley immediately afterwards and then delivering another one to Bournemouth in the evening, but I shall find out once we've got to the far eastern end of Kent. So let's head off. Well, you joined me a bit later on the move on the way to Broadstairs station. I have to admit I'm not exactly sure where I am, but yeah, it's just gone 1. But I might have to get straight on the train and go back to Bentley. The train is at 1:27. If I miss that train, there's no way I'll get back to Bentley in time. I will catch up with you in a little while and let you know as to whether or not we're staying here for a bit in Thanet or heading back to Bentley and on to Bournemouth. See you later. Okay, well that's the end of that chapter. So Bournemouth is off, so I'm no longer heading for the station. I'm doing what I intended to do in the first place, which is to head back to the coast, to have a look at the coastline and try to get a flavour for this extreme eastern end of Kent, which I'm not very familiar with. So let's go and have a look around. Well, it's 1:45 and I've got to the coast. That was a really long walk from near Broadstairs station here to Kingsland Bay. But how about this, an almost completely deserted sandy beach? We are kind of back to plan A really in terms of my filming for today, because I didn't know about the potential for going to Bournemouth until I left TMC this morning. It was kind of a last minute thing and we weren't sure whether the customer would be able to do it anyway. He can't. That now means that my delivery here to Broadstairs, Margate as I said earlier, is actually my only delivery for the day. So all I need to do now is make my way home by train. So why not have a bit of a look around while we're here? So I do usually find that Kent's are always a lot bigger than you remember. It takes a long time to drive out here to where I am now, because we are in the borough of Thanet, which is the very far eastern part of Kent, right about as far east as you can go on mainland Britain actually. There is Ness Point, of course, Lowestoft and East Anglia, they are further east geographically speaking. But then in terms of the next furthest eastern extremity, I believe it's pretty much where we are now. So plan for today, I think, is that I will walk around the coast from here at Kingsgate Bay back to Margate. I'll try and catch a train back home from Margate a bit later and just take in the scenery along the way. But first of all, I might go to this pub. That was very nice. Just had a very tasty meal overlooking the beautiful Kingsgate Bay at the Captain Digby pub, so that's recommended. Right, let's head off round the coast back towards Margate. So we're just beginning our brief journey around the coastline back towards Margate now. And this is Neptune's Tower. Now I've tried to find out a little bit of information about this online and I can't really find an awful lot about it. So if you know anything about Neptune's Tower, please feel free to put it in the comments below. So here at Neptune's Tower, we're just behind the natural arch you would have seen from Kingsgate Bay just earlier. But we're just the other side of that white chalky cliff. That arch, that natural arch, is just going to be below us now. Okay, onwards. So we're just heading round the headland now towards Botany Bay. This is rather good actually. It was my original plan for the day, of course. I was heading to Broadstairs Station. I just turned right around as soon as I knew I wasn't going to Bournemouth anymore and headed back to the coast. So here's the next bay along. This is Botany Bay. This is really nice along here. We're actually walking along the England Coast Path. Now I've heard of the Southwest Coast Path down in Devon and Cornwall, but I had no idea that there was a coast path, like an official coast path along the rest of the English coastline. Round to the other side of Fourness Point. We are now here at the end of Palm Bay. So that's Fourness Point just over there that we've just walked around, and I've just passed a sign that tells me that I'm now at Fourness Bay. I thought this was Palm Bay though, because my map on my phone says this is Palm Bay. I'm going to go by the signs as opposed to my map. But anyway, I thought I'd come down and walk a little bit of this path along by the coast as opposed to up on the cliffs. It's almost deserted around this coast. There's so few people around. There were quite a few people on Botany Bay. It's rather nice today. It's not cold at all. It's dry, it's not raining. What more do you want from an English summer? Here's the view from the other end of Fourness Bay. Or possibly Palm Bay, I'm not sure. So just stopped at what I think is Palm Bay and had an ice cream, and now we are heading on to Walpole Bay, and we really are heading into Margate now. So here we are, Walpole Bay. Well, now we're in the town of Margate. I've left the coast, as you can see, and we're just going to head into town before I leave to see something quite unusual that I've been looking forward to having a look at. And welcome to the Shell Grotto, a most extraordinary place hidden right in the heart of Margate. I've been looking forward to seeing this today. There's a cool, peaceful and calm atmosphere in the grotto, so I decided not to ruin that for other visitors by talking in the grotto itself. So hello from home as I record this section later on. But what an amazing and extravagant work of art this place is. About 70 feet of winding underground passageways carved into the chalk ground and meticulously decorated with something like 4.6 million shells. And this place remains a complete mystery. Nobody knows who built this, why it was built or when. But these patterns and designs are simply amazing. No one knows what it was for. This part of the grotto in the main room appears to be a bit like an altar. The grotto was discovered around 1835, although even the stories around its discovery are conflicting. One account suggests it was discovered by workmen who had to move a large stone whilst excavating, and this led them to finding the grotto behind it. Another account comes from one of the previous proprietors of the grotto, called Frances Newlove. She described how her brother found the grotto when they were children, by moving pieces of loose chalk. So even before it was eventually discovered by others, he, Francis and some other children had already squeezed their way in and visited the grotto by candlelight. After its widest discovery, her brother was then lowered down through the hole in the top of the dome to investigate the place, even though he'd already been in there before. He simply hadn't told his father. What an amazing secret place to have discovered for a while. The shells themselves are very discoloured, as you can see. Let's pop upstairs to the museum section briefly to have a look at this. This is a modern recreation of the grotto panelling made using newer shells, and it shows what the grotto may originally have looked like. I think these colours are stunning. We can only imagine what it would have been like back down in the grotto itself, when all these amazing colours would have brought the place to life spectacularly. So why are the shells so discoloured? Well, partly because of the damp. No one knows exactly how long they've been down here, but it stands to reason they would lose their colour over time. And perhaps more importantly, the grotto was lit by gas lights for almost a century after it was first opened to the public, back in 1838, not long after it was discovered. These gas lights would have caused carbon deposits to gather on the shells, hence the discoloration we see now. But it's a genuinely extraordinary, mysterious place down here. Well, that is a wonderfully quirky and genuinely fascinating place. Well worth a visit if you're ever in Margate, and only £4.50 to get in as well, so just really glad I've seen that actually. But it is now 4:30 almost, and I need to head back to either Horsham or Guildford. My car is parked at home today, so I'll be getting a train into London from here, and then another train either out to Horsham or Guildford, so I had better head off. On second thought, since I'm here, I thought I might as well have a proper look at the beach on Margate seafront. It's been interesting to see this area of far eastern Kent, the Thanet area of Kent. Not a place that I'm really very familiar with. Okay, well it's goodbye Margate for now. Well, I'm heading for Horsham, I've decided, but I'm at the station, as you can see. It's exactly 5 o'clock and my train is in 2 minutes. It takes 2 hours, surprisingly, to get from here to London. It's longer than I expected. But there you go. I shall catch up with you in a couple of hours' time at Victoria Station. 10 to 7, got to London Victoria, just a quick stop here. I've got a 7:05 train that will take me back to Horsham, so I'm just going to grab a quick drink and then I'll be heading off again. It's 8 o'clock and I'm back at Horsham, so I think we'll say goodbye now because I'm heading off home. I almost forgot that I delivered a van at the beginning of today. It seems like such a long time ago. Of course, I would have been back a lot earlier, but it's entirely my decision, of course, because I've spent so much time wandering around the Thanet area today. But thank you very much for joining me. I'm heading off home now here from here in Horsham, and I hope to see you again soon on another trade plating adventure.